has been really popular lately just because it is easy to farm. You know, you can toss up those giant balls and just go to the next camp and let the abilities do the work for you, so to speak. But we do get to see Viscous here this time on the side of Tracklock Whisperers, which is nice. So a Bebop coming in here as well on the other side of things.
And it is worth noting as well that Talon remains banned in this one. So 3 for 3 on the Grey Talon bans, not wanting to let that one go through. And I don't know, again, if that's because of the recent changes or if just...
To almost every time at that 10 mark, ready for that urn to come down on spawn. So I'm always interested to see what teams are kind of paying attention to those things throughout the map here as well. But you see a little bit of early damage coming in here from that Paradox onto the Kelvin, and nothing too over-aggressive just yet.
An interesting start there, though, from the Amber Hand. The Patron Pulverizers sent sent Mirage over to swap lanes with Yamato, and Tracklock catches Yagu coming into the duo lane and managed to kill her before she can even make her way into the Guardian. So an excellent start there from Tracklock Whispers. I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication there for the Patron Pulverizers or if they just got a matchup they didn't like, but they definitely got punished for it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes too, I mean, you have those moments where you're standing on the rooftop, you're staring down the opposition before you head into battle. I think that's the perfect time to talk about some of those lane swaps. You want to try to find it early on that zip line before you make your way into the lane. So, maybe just a little bit of miscommunication there, but nonetheless, I mean, Viscous able to come away with that first blood, has that early soul lead, so we'll see if he's able to utilize it. On the other side of things, I mean, Kelvin already up toward that 900 mark, Yamo there as well, so doing a good job at least denying and obtaining or securing here early.
And it really is shocking that after falling so early, Yamato has gotten pretty comfortable back in this duo lane pretty quickly, and even pressuring up on the Guardian line. I mean, this is very uncommon to see a player fall in the early game and then end up ahead of their lane opposition within the next couple of minutes. And this isn't even like minutes, we're talking like 30 seconds it took for Yamato to get caught up. So whatever he's farming, I want some of what he's having, man.
Yeah, not only caught up, but he was the first to hit 1.2k. We do see Viscous now take that lead, but yeah, you're right. To die first and then somehow come back and have the soul lead is a secret that I would like to obtain as well. But Mo and Krill, just again, playing smart here. Doesn't have to get past their point of the bridge. Just peppering in damage when you can, looking to get the last hit on those minions and secure those orbs.
And surprisingly enough, I typically consider Mo and Krill to have one of the better weapons for securing and denying. That automatic shotgun can feel so oppressive to try to pop a soul in front of, but Infernus actually off to a 600 soul lead in that far right-hand side lane. Infernus, no slouch in his weapon. I mean, it is pretty solid, but I just wouldn't think that he'd be doing this, diving the Guardian on the Mo and Krill player. I'm sick indeed, as he gets another solo kill over there, and that will expand his lead even further. And as soon as he gets that ult online, you can anticipate that he's going to be showing his face in these middle parts of the map, in the enemy jungle, and taking all of the farm that he can away from Tracklock Whispers.
Yeah, I mean, Infernus, 2.5k souls already, you named it, almost to that ult, and it's just tough because Mo's so big, right? Like Infernus, easier target to get that ignite popping off, and you can chase down that enemy as well. So Infernus, another character with great mobility. Kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for Mo and Krill. Does have that disarm though, so it can buy you some time to where Infernus can't use that gun. So I think it's just something that you have to pay attention, maybe work toward getting a little bit earlier of those cooldowns as opposed to maybe something else.
Checking in here with the other solo lane, the Mirage versus the Wraith. Things got a little interesting there with the swap early on, but things seems to have settled down after that point. No large lead developing, but I'm sick now, diving the Guardian on Mo and Krill once more. Uses that ult that he got about twice as fast as Mo and Krill would have gotten his ult, and picks up another solo kill here. This is starting to spiral out of control on the right-hand side.
Yeah, surprisingly, I mean, the Patron Pulverizers only have a 1k lead, but as you mentioned earlier, 1k means a lot more in those first 5 to 7 minutes than it does in those later 20s. So any early lead is going to be beneficial, and it's certainly beginning to rocket up a little bit for Patron here. And again, it was Tracklock Whisperers who had that early success, but Patron Pulverizers. It just goes to show you how important securing and denying is.
Absolutely is, and it's going to be so much more difficult for the Mo and Krill player to farm, and he actually ends up behind Infernus here in the lane. That could spell danger, and danger also spelled here for the 7 player. Looks like King Basilius gets the ult online and manages to find one pick. Ivy will back up to safety and won't end up falling as well, but I mean, you've got an Infernus on your walker. What are you supposed to do here, Hot Sauce?
Yeah, I mean, we see on the minimap, 7 is going to come out and try to provide a little bit of assistance here. That alley is not where you want to be when 7 comes in. Doesn't connect with the stun before the ball hits, but it's going to be Mo and Krill who does fall first, and only 2k souls compared to the 4.6. That is a tough position to be in, and I think maybe they might want to think about leaving 7 or somebody else over here, allowing Mo and Krill to rotate out to a different lane.
Looks like you might be onto something there. They do exactly that, leaving the 7 there because there is chaos in the middle of the map. Viscous getting chased all the way in here. Ivy pops the ult, looking for potential disengage here. Kelvin ult seems to have been used as well throughout that engagement, just to keep the members of PP a little bit more healthy. No kills converted there, but because I'm sick on this Infernus was present for that fight, that is a very dangerous interaction for Tracklock to be taking, and all of the pressure is now going to be on this Infernus to make this lead count.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see him able to even get back to his lane in time, stop those creeps from working on that Guardian, and then 7 doing an equally as smart thing, right? Don't overextend because you don't have a Guardian to work with. You have those free camps in that background, so just falling back, making sure to utilize those camps and make sure that you don't get outsold, because he's not too far from Infernus at this point.
Yeah, he's at least able to contend in the lane, whereas the Mo and Krill just a little bit too far behind to feel comfortable farming there. That's why now paired up with this Ivy, the 2v2 is a much safer place to be than the 1v1. Even if you're behind there, you have a much lower likelihood of being exploited for it, as you can see here. Even able to get a little bit aggressive onto the Bebop, doesn't obviously go for a kill or anything there, but certainly a much different story than he would have been telling if he was still stuck in the solo lane with I'm Sick. And I do want to draw attention to the fact, by the way, that as you pointed out, this 7 Frippy DL is doing a fantastic job of occupying this Infernus' attention without taking up too much trouble in doing so. He's not risking getting poked out, he's not risking dying, he's just making sure Infernus has to stick around and soaking up all the farm he can.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we got a big fight here in this right mid lane, and now into the mix here. Pocket goes. Mo and Krill just has a skosh of health left, somehow able to get back to safety for the time being, but it does look like they are on the hunt, and they will eventually get their prize. So Mo and Krill will fall. Yamato has to get back to safety, but has no issue doing that in the ult as well. Obviously can't die. So again, happy with the picks they got, able to fall back to a safer position and continue to farm.
Squid, wow, I think Squid just killed himself to that camp. I think that he was dead either way, but he certainly spelled his own end sooner rather than later. Good ult there from the Paradox to bring down the Mirage. And we saw a cute little interaction there as well. The team play on the Patron Pulverizers. Yamato pops the ult, and you know exactly where she's going to be. So Bebop drops a hook in her direction and pulls her back out of there into safety before that ult can expire, making sure that no danger coming her way, even after diving that walker. An excellent bit of team play there, and those are the, you know, the small little things that start to add up and demonstrate just how comfortable this team is.
Yeah, I mean, a Bebop pool is always nice on an enemy, but when they get a crazy one like that onto a teammate to help keep them alive, it really just extends the longevity of those fights and allows them to continue to farm. So again, hats off to Bebop on some great situational awareness there as well. And I mean, honestly, Tracklock has been able to reel it in a bit, though. We saw that lead starting to find that gap. Now we see it back into that 3K range. So while they have this opportunity, they need to continue to capitalize on it. They are finding some nice groupings together, and hopefully they can catch somebody off guard. But this Wraith in that left lane has to be careful because it is pretty stacked for the Patron Pulverizers at the moment.
Yeah, they've got 3 over there. Looks like Kelvin going to be just farming the jungle because everybody else feeling pretty confident in their ability to push.
All right, we're back into it, guys. Grit and Glory League Season 1. The technical difficulties have been ironed out, so we're going to get right back into the action. Still in the booth with me, the legendary Kaizo, as we kick it off here around the 9.5-minute mark.
That's me, baby. Let's get back into it. And let's get back into this. It's a bit of a climb here for the Tracklock side, right? Like, after the unfortunate circumstances that arose in the solo lane, with Infernus getting pretty decently far ahead there, they've had some issues that they need to iron out, and doesn't look like they're doing so as much yet. But Seven going over there, as we were talking about earlier, has been plugging a very necessary hole for Tracklock and making sure that they don't have as many issues. But that does mean that the Tracklock squad are going to have to begin to contend on other parts of the map with the Patron Pulverizers, and it looks like PP looking for this Guardian on left-hand side, and a big grouping starting to come out over here.
Yeah, I mean, Infernus is almost up to 10k souls already, and there he'll hit that mark. So quite the big lead on really everybody across the board. Seven probably being the close one at 2k behind it. We see Infernus making swaps over to that mid-right lane there as well. Seven looking to mirror that. Ivy over here alone on the far right side. Could take the Guardian, but all the action coming in around the urn here. We look to see him backpedaling behind this Guardian, but Mo and Krill, the rest of the crew, seems to have no issue going back there as well.
Wraith teleports out on the right-hand side, manages to sneak their way away from the Mirage, but unfortunately for Tracklock, the Guardian cannot teleport away, so they will end up losing that one. And pressure on the Walker as well, believe it or not, here from the Patron Pulverizers. They're going to try to put some damage on it. Looked like one got pulled in there. Mirage will tornado out and try to get some distance, but Vanco and the rest of the boys are hunting them down. Mo and Krill, but he's got to jump out!
Got to jump out here. Unfortunately, was that Mirage that went down, and we saw Bebop go down earlier. So missing two members. Tracklock looking to maybe gain some of that ground and close that soul gap lead there, as they are now within 3k. Pocket has the ability to teleport away, and will do just that here as well. I think Infernus has just caused so much problems on this right side that they're kind of wanting to double stack that way, while the rest of the group kind of stacks on that left side, so they continue to have success over there. They have, just one Guardian left, I think, to go through here.
Yeah, this Seven, by the way, has gotten pretty big in his own right. He took one spill early on in the laning phase, and ever since he's been given license to just farm out that right-hand side of the map by himself, things have gotten a lot more comfortable for him. And the Patron Pulverizers now beginning to think about going for this urn here. You can see Kelvin has got that one around the middle, but he's going to run into two members. Internet Boyfriend jumps on out of there and seemingly will be away for the time being, but all of Tracklock are grouped up on that right-hand side. They're not going to let this urn go for free.
Yeah, Kelvin utilizing that wall jump to a T there. The ult will come out from Bebop as he looks to rain down this beam here and see if he can have any success. Kelvin dangerously close to being able to drop off that urn. We can see Ivy up top looking to contest, but not going to be close enough to hit him with that heavy melee to force them to drop that urn, or to statue in and make him drop the urn. So, Tracklock Whispers and able to, unfortunately, are going to give up that one, and that came just after they had taken that soul lead by about 500 to a K.
Oh, and poor Mo and Krill surrounded by three there. I'm sick. We'll get one more kill off onto this Viscous. Meanwhile, the answer back does come out. Mirage will take a spill as well, so Patron Pulverizers do bleed. And fascinatingly here, Hot Sauce, despite the fact that it's felt like Patron Pulverizers have been in the lead this entire game, they've had that huge Infernus throughout the entirety of this early game, it's only a 2k soul lead even after the urn has been deposited here for the Patron Pulverizers, and that's remarkable for Tracklock Whispers, right? Like, they're doing a fantastic job of spreading out this map and eating up all the jungle farm they can, not letting the Patron Pulverizers dictate what they are and are not capable of farming. I mean, they're getting very quickly back into this game to the point that we're finally back to parity.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Infernus and he's 5 or 6k above almost everybody other than Seven, and you think, how is it this close? But it kind of goes across the rest of the pack there. Kelvin, Mirage, Bebop still not in that double digits, whereas the majority of the other side has made it that way. So Paradoxal Pool and King Basilisk have to fight to get out of here. Mo and Crew is there as well. The beam comes in yet again, and Bebop gets that ult back so fast.
I won't listen to any Bebop slander, man. That is a long cooldown, and it feels like a long cooldown. He got it back right when he needed it, though. He got to use it as a zone. Yeah, I'm gonna roll through that. I mean, I'm not gonna take your slander. I'm a Bebop main, all right? He does
That's
manage
fair.
to get that one to not only zone out the rest of the Tracklock Whispers on the urn, but at least dissuade any further aggression onto him there. Surprised that Moen Krill wasn't expended there on the Paradox ult. Could have potentially looked to lock him down and get one more kill off, but looks like how do you even print? I kill you 04. There we go.
I kill you.
Oh.
You know, kids these days, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like to sling my hate at Bebop because he's one of those characters that can frustrate you when they are very good at those pools. But, so, you know, I guess if you play Bebop, that alt cooldown feels like an eternity. When you're on the other side of that beam, you're really hoping for that nerf coming.
Yeah, I'd be alright to not see any nerfs, but I do think that the Patron Pulverizers are going to be in about the same boat right now, as another Bebop pull brings I Kill You in. Moen Krill will be going down into the burrow there. Doesn't look like a ton of help is around. Yamato is local and will start peppering down the damage, but the rest of the Tracklock Whispers are coming in. Moen Krill used, but it will only last so long.
Yeah, Wraith's going to pop up the Yamo here as well. The beam will come in. Yamo will pop the ult for the sustain. And with that, Tracklock will have to back off to a safer position. Right now, the Patron Pulverizers continue to assert their dominance despite only being up by 1,000 souls.
Which feels ridiculous to say out loud, because it truly does feel like they have all of the map at their disposal. They're now pushing up the walker on that middle right-hand side. Looks like they're going for another urn run here. Kelvin's going to be responsible for picking up that one as I'm Sick gets pulled in. If they can shut down this Infernus, it would be a huge pick, and slowing Hex plus the 7-stun might be enough, but by God, what a rescue beam there from the Patron Pulverizers will get that incredibly fed Infernus back to safety, and he is thanking his lucky stars that he's got an internet boyfriend.
That's right. Hey, what a perfect name, you know. But I think if you're Moen Krill here, you got to find some camps. I mean, Moen Krill, not even in double digits yet, really at risk at kind of being the primary target anytime they're around. As we see, it's 12 kills to 6, but the ability points just one different there as well. So again, you talk about how it feels like the Patron Pulverizers should be up much more than they are, but the Tracklock Whisperers have been able to hang around, and if they can continue this, who knows, maybe they'll have an opportunity to take the lead and look to maybe change things around a bit.
Looks like a Wraith ult expended there onto the Yamato, but won't be able to cash that one in for a kill. And once more, we see one of these teams grabbing this urn hot sauce and just lingering around with it. Paradox has it pretty deep on their side of the map, only now starting to congregate over there where the drop-off location is. And we've got an interesting engagement on the right-hand side of the map as well. Looks like 7 and Mo and Krill tasked with trying to stop Kelvin and the Pocket from taking that walker, but can't manage to do so, and now going to teleport over to this fight in the left.
Yeah, it looks like Tracklock is trying to find a way to get the urn in. If you take a look at the mini-map as well, you can see Tracklock has really killed all of their neutral creep camps there. So on the other side of things, the Patron Pulverizers have a lot of those camps up, the T3 camps as well. So I think that's kind of been the big difference maker that has allowed Tracklock to stay in it thus far.
Urn swapped over there. Yagu picks it up and immediately gets Paradox ulted in, but it's the Paradox that ends up falling as a result of that engagement, and the Patron Pulverizers very comfortably just walk on in and secure the urn. Looks like maybe a lapse in communication there for the Tracklock Whispers, because no follow-up was ready for that Paradox ult on pretty critical urn carrying target.
Yeah, I think at this point when they see Infernus, they pretty much just turn and run. Again, 7 might be able to contend a little bit if he has some help, but Infernus really beginning to increase that gap. 26k, and what was a very close soul battle was just drastically changed by the urn. Marl's live falls here as well. It looks like Mo and Krill, Ivy dangerously low. They're going to lose 3 in that fight, and now an opportunity even for the Patron Pulverizers just to fall back and take the Rejuvenator.
Another Paradox ult in here, and oh my goodness, pulled back in by the Bebop as well, but the kills are actually going the other way. Paradox manages to bring down the Yamato. Ult available for the Yamato, but was not expended, so she will take a spill. But with those 3 picks unavailable for Tracklock Whispers, looks like I'm Sick and the rest of the boys are now grouping up around mid here, trying to get this mid boss. Only Ivy is around to play defense, and you gotta imagine that they're not gonna want to jump in here.
Yeah, it's too dangerous to trickle in one by one. You don't have the group there. You're not able to team fight. So unfortunately, you have to give up this mid boss. But that could also spell disaster here as well, because they're going to look to hopefully group up, take this team fight. They have a couple camps that they could clear first. But honestly, I think the best thing for Patron Pulverizers to do is to just push forward, look to take the camps away from Tracklock. And if they can start a fight there, great. If not, just go ahead and take that final walker there.
And on the reverse side of things, what does Tracklock want to do? Because that is the most difficult question to answer. They are still quite substantially far behind, especially if it's I kill you, still only 12k on that Mo and Krill. And it really seems like the best thing that they can do is hunt for these paradox pulls. He's been getting people pretty consistently pulled in and out of position, but hasn't been a ton of follow-up to help him out once he actually gets that member isolated. If they can convert on one of these kills, get the numbers in their favor, they would be in a much more comfortable position. So I'd love to see I kill you grouping up with this paradox and maybe trying to hit that ult combo that we didn't see in the early game. I think that's probably their best avenue in, because otherwise, I mean, the Patron Pulverizers are just going to start pulverizing the walkers.
Yeah, I agree. Either the Paradox or even maybe a Wraith ult potentially. Maybe there's a Game Genie or some cheat codes laying around, because they're going to need everything they possibly can deep in that back pocket to come back from this one, as Infernus is sitting at 30k souls. There's really nobody that can contend with them at this point. And then, of course, when you add in everybody else, the Bebop's insane consistent pulls, the bombs, pocket, the whole crew right now just working as a very cohesive unit.
A good stun there onto I'm Sick, but no follow-up. No hook online there, thankfully, for Tracklock. I think that might have been curtains for these base guardians if he had connected with somebody, but doesn't look like they're going to be long for this world anyway, as now Kelvin brings up the rare and brings up the urn, so they not only get the base guardians down, but finally a swap in from Paradox. This could be their moment.
Infernus is burning and Kelvin is earning right now. They continue to pad the souls almost to 140k as they look to push in, and pretty soon should be dropping these shrines with ease here. So Shoddy looking to drop a bomb toward the spawn here as well. And it's just, I feel like there's really not a lot that Tracklock unfortunately can do at this point.
They're going to have to throw down the gauntlet at some point, though, because they don't have much longer for this Patron. They're going to have to find some kind of defensive measure to secure the base in the face of 6 members of the Patron Pulverizers. Wraith ult will go down. Cube will save the Wraith for the time being, but it's just once more back into spawn.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do, right? You're literally just getting bullied at every twist and turn you take, and it's coming off the back of the Infernus. This is something similar that we saw in that TF2 Boomers game, right? Going forward, do they just go ahead and ban Infernus at this point?
You might need to, but at least for the time being, they got bigger questions to answer, namely, how are they going to stop the rest of the members of the Patron Pulverizers in this pit? Looks like it will be just the Pocket and the Bebop, so for the time being, they do manage to hold on to the base, and as I was saying earlier, man, it is really this Paradox that's keeping them in this game. An excellent swap there on the Mirage, pulls him into the fountain, and then it was a waterfall effect from there forward. Didn't even need their Fed 7 to come back in. That ult's still online for Frippy DL, and they do hold the base, yes, but Hot Sauce, I mean, it is going to be an uphill battle if they want to fight their way back into this one.
Yeah, they certainly closed that soul gap a little bit, but you're right. I mean, it's just a huge uphill battle for them. 7 has the ult. 7's ult can be really good at denying that base push as well, as long as he doesn't get snatched out of the sky or some type of stun. But, you know, again, that's what they're going to have to work toward. But if you look at that soul deficit from 10k now just to 5k as well. So they're certainly doing a good job of, at least at a minimum, closing that gap a bit.
And Mo and Krill also getting pretty comfortable here back into the game. Was about half the souls of anybody else, but has now since gotten pretty much to parity. Still a little bit behind the average mark of the rest of the lobby, but not too bad here. Still can at least play the game now, which is a very fortunate thing for Tracklock, who are going to need all of their cylinders firing if they want to make their way back into this one. They lose one more fight, Hot Sauce. That could be the end of it.
Yeah, very well could be the end. It just takes one here from this squad. Wraith, though, on the hunt here, playing off the ult here as well. Mo and Krill coming in, looking to finalize this chase. Bebop hanging on by a thread, but eventually King Basilius will fall. And with that, Tracklock breathing a little bit of life into the team. We talked about that single spark to ignite the spectral fire. This potentially could be it off the team fight. Viscous rolling around in ball form, looking for those stuns, but it's going to be Mo and Krill who falls. The 7 ult comes raining down. He's like Goku when the world needed him most. Can he be this just stopping force for Tracklock?
And Infernus now trying to dive deep by himself, actually has Yamato behind him. They're going to combine for 1, make it 2 here. Vanku as well will fall, and they finally bring back the 7 in the backline and take him out. It is only Viscous to play defense, Hot Sauce, and he will fall as well. It is a 5 for 1, excuse me, a 6 for 1 at the end of that one, and Patron Pulverizers finally managed to convert on this one.
Yeah, 6-1 is usually not the most ideal trade that you're looking for, but again, you know.
And then I listened to the words that were coming out, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
I did the same thing in the previous one as well, but yeah, Kelvin with the most healing there. Of course, the objective damage going to Scout on that pocket. We knew the player damage was going to be Infernus. Unfortunately for Mo and Krill, because of that late start, just couldn't really ever get going. Only 6,300 player damage for them, and so again, I feel like if today will remain consistently banned, and Mirage will be banned on the other side of things.
And let's take a look here. It does look like Infernus was picked up there for the Patron Pulverizers, so they, or excuse me, for Tracklock, so exactly what you were just saying. They're taking it away from the player-character matchup that they've gone for.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these snipes coming out from I'm Sick, because they certainly had very good crosshair placement, great tracking skills as well. And we can see him already up into the air here, looking to apply that damage early on. Yamato dangerously low, somehow able to find the first blood within the first minute and 30, and on to Lady Geist as well. So a big pick here already for the Patron Pulverizers.
Looked like maybe a hook there from the Pulverizers pulls in 1, but no kill is going to be secured in this lane, despite the fact that everybody in Broadway a little bit worse for the wear on this side of the map. They're feeling very low, but going back over to that solo kill, man, this is what a Lady Geist solo lane will bring you. There will be blood because she does so much damage, but as you know, she has to sacrifice her health bar in order to cast those buttons. So when you pair it up against something like a Yamato that has such a high damage ability in the early game, that can be an incredibly volatile matchup, and doesn't look like just because she died, she's going to be backing up anytime soon. I would anticipate that we're still going to be seeing a lot of fighting here, even though we already had the solo kill go down.
Yeah, only a 200 gap there, so nothing too atrocious just yet, even though they were able to get that first blood and those extra souls. So Lady Geist maybe not fearing that power just yet, but in time, Frippy, who had a lot of success on the 7 previously here as well, has to be careful of that Paradox, because Paradox had some really solid pulls in that previous matchup as well.
You do mean Bebop, right?
Paradox?
Oh, I thought you said pulls.
The old baby switch pull? Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad. I had a different thing in my head, because we were.
I'm not mad at you.
Man, it totally feels like I'm just being like a total jerk for no reason. But we were just talking off air about how we were mixing up the names, and now I'm just now realizing that the audience doesn't have that context. But getting back into the game here. If you had to pick one thing on this map, Hot Sauce, what do you think is the thing that the audience should be watching throughout the early stages of this one, now that, again, we have a map state that's significantly different than the previous one? There's no incredibly fed Infernus running around. You don't have one guy who's an anchor to the rest of the team. Where should we be keeping our eyes in this early game?
I mean, honestly, I always keep an eye on the clock, right? We look at those timers for when those small camps come up, and then at 5 again when the medium camps come up. Who's paying attention to that? Who's drifting off of their lanes into these neutral camps, finding those early farms and just kind of benefiting themselves? Obviously, some characters are a little bit better at early farming, like your Sevens, your Infernuses, but who can utilize that as a team together? We see 7 already looking to take those side camps and work on those farms.
We'll have to keep an eye on that for about 1 more minute, you said, before those medium camps spawn in, and until then it's just going to be this laning phase a little bit later on. And Vindicta, by the way, or excuse me, not Vindicta, Yamato has held on to a little bit of the lead over here in the solo lane on the left-hand side of the map, and will be pressured here by that Geist. Don't forget that this is going to be a scrappy one from start to finish. Yamato will be on the upside of this trade once more, gets a second kill there onto Vanku, and very comfortable now on this Yamato.
Yeah, I think if you're Lady Geist, you just be a little more patient in those scenarios just because Yama's so strong, right? You wait to get to that 3K mark because then you can bait that fight out a little bit. You can allow them to do damage. Yama likes to get in the face of the competition, kind of pulls right into you, right? The old get over here hook style only comes at you. So, and then you can use that life swap to your benefit. So Lady Geist doesn't really have to get too carried away, even though there is a little bit of a soul deficit. Just play smart, play back a little bit until you are able to get that ult and utilize it.
And it's not like, again, we're in a situation like game number 1 where taking a real good look at this street sign here, it would seem, but it's not like in game number 1 where we had an incredibly fed Infernus. You have 2 deaths on this Lady Geist, and it's nowhere near as bad as game number 1, right? Like, you are still within striking distance, about to get that ult online. That can be a big game changer, although it does look like this Yamato is starting to think about making some of these rotations. They have incredible pressure on this Guardian over here in the middle, and adding a Yamato to the fray could be devastating.
Yeah, they continue to dive into the background. There's Internet Boyfriend pumping up the Igloo. We'll find Frippy on that 7 here as well. And again, just, you know, they make these Guardians stronger. They make it harder to find these early game dives, but these players just don't care. They find a way to make it happen. Internet King, Basilisk, both combining here for the 2K, and they continue to find some early picks. The Patron Pulverizers having early success yet again, and after a very close soul battle, we see things starting to dwindle and go in the favor of PP.
Man, it really is like they are just listening to us and waiting to hear that we were saying things were even, because as soon as we were talking about it, things kicked off, and now, like you said, Patron Pulverizers getting a little bit ahead here, and it will be I'm Sick trying to contend 1v2 with these big health bars. Viscous ult will temporarily stun, Lash is very low, would be an execute threshold if Vindicta has a shot available for him and can find him. Looks like will manage to make his way on out and into safety, but you gotta imagine that you are you're gonna have to change some pants at the end of that engagement.
Yeah, it looked like Bebop even tossed up the barrier onto Vindicta there as Lash hit the slam as well. So
yep,
some good teamwork coming in thus far from the crew, popping the healing right, and again just falling back to a safe position, allowing that healing right to do its job, allowing that sustain to work so you can stay in that lane and continue to look to work to farm.
Yamato contending with the Guardian over here. Lady Geist is looking for an aggressive swap, dives in and gets a good swap off onto the Yamato. Ooh. That's going to be a solo kill going the other way. Vanco with an incredibly risky play, and it does pay off for him that time around.
Yeah, that's the difference there. We have the ult this time for Lady Geist. It allows you to have that 1v1 battle with a powerful person like Yamato, whereas when you don't have that ult, you can just get picked apart when you're low. So again, because Yamato has to really be in your face, obviously can apply damage from a distance, but if it really wants to try to 0 to 100 you, they have to get up in your face. And well, that's where Lady Geist can really succeed, especially when that ult is on deck and ready to be flexed.
So now shoring up some of that deficit over there in the left-hand side of the map. Was about 5k, now call it about 4 in favor of the Patron Pulverizers as we tick over to that 8-minute mark. We're starting to get some of these camps respawning, and it looks like we've gotten another aggressive play on the left side of the map, man. I said that there would be blood in this lane, Hot Sauce. I didn't think there would be this much blood in this lane.
Yeah, I think Yama was a little upset about that last one. Came in for revenge, certainly got it, and now in the face of the Guardian there with Ivy. Here comes Scout to help out a little bit as well, but it does appear that the Guardian will fall here in a moment's time. Internet Boyfriend doing everything they can to keep it alive for a little while longer, but it's kind of a dangerous position to be in because once it falls, now you're stuck out here in the open as well. No tower to play around. The ult from 7 will come in as well. Yama gonna pop their ult. They continue to pressure forward. The damage, though, being sustained for the time being, and Yama's going to fall here as well.
Now we're going to see Squid contending with another fight on the opposite side of the map. They've got a 3v3 grouping over there as Paradox will take a spill. Vanco brings him down. And on the other side of the map, we've got another engagement where not a Guardian being dove, but certainly some Western-style standoff where both teams looking at one another with finger guns pointed down, and I'm Sick will now be face-to-face with Mary was live, but it doesn't look like any more fighting is going to be over here. I think that these teams have relegated all of their action to the far left side of the map, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, I mean, almost all the kills for the entire game have come from either Yama or Lady Geist. I think Yama 5-2, Lady 3-3 at the time here. So you're absolutely right. Most of that action happening on that side. We can see on the mini-map there as well. Both Lady Geist and Yama falling back to those neutral camps on the side and looking to continue that farm so really nobody gets out of hand. I think I'm Sick, although doing good on the Vindicta, certainly not as good as we saw on the Infernus. The hook, the bomb, the uppercut, and the ult. The whole kitchen sink as Infernus is going to have to dash off to safety. They are on the chase. That squid in the pocket looking for the hunt. Gupta comes in to find the block here as well, looking to help out his teammate. Squid, full health, has to consider maybe falling back, even though Infernus is dangerously low.
Looks like Bebop left him to finish off that kill by himself, so despite the fact that Ofei is 1 HP, he will be left alive, at least for now. I don't know if he will be allowed to farm anything. He'll have to take a trip back to the base before he can do that. And hang on, another pull here! King Basilius going insane! Pulls in the Lash, gets some good damage off onto him. Much lower kill potential on that target, but definitely hot and on target with these pulls.
Yeah, I will say, doing much better with the Lash than the Mo and Krill in that previous series here as well. So certainly these swaps have worked out a little bit here, but again, we see the Patron Pulverizers beginning to work on that soul gap that we talk about, taking a lot of solid team engagements here and winning the fights at the moment in the face of the Guardians. Squid on the pocket just absolutely melts the Lash, and again, it's the Patron Pulverizers having a lot of early success.
Huge knockdown there, spelled the end of Lash and made sure that he wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. And it's a big grouping here from the Pulverizers around that blue lane, because look at what Yamato's got in hand. She's got the urn, and it doesn't look like anybody from Tracklock are going to be near enough to contend with this one. Infernus will watch from a distance, but they will not be able to stop the Patron Pulverizers from dipping that one in and increasing this soul lead a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen Ivy flying any of these urn carriers around yet. It's been all Patron Pulverizers, making sure to keep an eye on that clock. Again, the Bebop ult from above raining down will find Lady Geist, and they continue to work on that soul lead, now sitting at 5K.
And it is worth noting as well that Tracklock are doing a spectacular job of spreading out this map and getting what farm is available to them. Shoddy over in that far left-hand side puts some damage on the walker, forces one back, and then just calmly ults on out of there. But I don't know how calm they should really be, as the rest of the squad is still shooting them down. If that grenade, okay. If that grenade from downtown ended up spelling the end, I might have popped off. But fortunately for my roommates and anybody else in the apartment complex, we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, Ivy, I don't know. They barely got out of that one alive, but nonetheless, at a minimum, and that's what matters. They were able to get out alive. Yamo up into the face of competition once more, looking to press forward, has help from the rest of the crew now, and they are on the hunt here. It looks like Tracklock trying to get back in time. They'll pop the ult, look to take the engagement. Now out comes the Igloo, trapped alone here as Lady Geist will pop the ult, but a little bit early as they play a ring around the rosy, a game of cat and mouse for the time being.
And Lady Geist gonna try to find her way on out of here. Excuse me, Viscous trying to do the same. Won't be able to find safety here. Looks like Yagu will not be able to find the last hit on that Geist, so the ult was sufficient to keep her alive. The dive not effective for the Patron Pulverizers. Walker will stay up. Lash lived as well, so all in all, not the worst defense there from Tracklock, even though they do lose Viscous. Once again, Shoddy over here is just putting incredibly good damage on this Walker.
And doing good damage on the walker for the time being. Has to be careful of this tractor beam coming in, though, because it is deadly and hard to deal with. Being evasive behind the car, was able to stay alive for quite some time, but at the end of the day, not able to grab that walker, unfortunately.
And you gotta wonder what these taxi cabs are made out of, that they can just take that laser beam to the side and then still be totally fine, even though if you take that laser beam, you know, as Bebop said, humans are really bad at surviving explosions. I don't think that you'd be long for this world, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that one wholeheartedly. as we crack back into the action here again. The soul lead has fluctuated quite a bit, but Tracklock looking to reel it in. I feel like they really need to focus on this next urn once it does respawn.
And it should be just a couple more minutes before that does come back up. I think you might be onto something, that they're going to have to maybe look for one of these Bebop, or excuse me, one of these Lash ults onto the urn carrier, maybe try to pull them off. They've got great displacement between the Lash ult and the Viscous knockup, so actually securing the urn would be a difficult task. But what is Bebop doing here?
Yeah, you know, I think he heard somebody up here taking his farm, so he's like, I'm going to come check it out, you know, ruin their day. Well, he got up the steps, and there was 2 of them there, and that unfortunately spelled a little bit of a disaster. And if you take a look at the minimap, even though Tracklock Whisperers are down right now, one thing that they've done consistently better in both of these games is take these neutral camps. There's almost none of these neutral camps left on the minimap down here for that Tracklock side, as there's plenty on the Patron Pulverizer side.
Bit of a risky business here on the right side of the map. Looked like Geist was looking for an ambush, but didn't know that there was help for the pocket, but help coming in for her as well, as Vindicta will get 1 kill on the left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Chase going down on the right-hand side. Infernus, Viscous, and Lady Geist trying to convert this kill onto the Walker side of the map on right, but Paradox very evasive alongside this pocket, and Kelvin buying incredible time here in the middle.
Buying a lot of time for the time being, but Vindicta looking to drop the snipes. It'll be King Basilisk who does secure the kill onto Frippy, and had a lot of success on that 7 in that previous map. Certainly has the soul lead for their squad here as well, but I feel like just not having as much value on the 7 as we saw previously.
Yagu paired up here with the Bebop as we try to take a bit of a breath and hope that some of this fighting might die down so we can take an overall look at the map state here, because it is getting pretty dire for the Patron Pulverizers, in their favor at least. All of these walkers still standing for Tracklock Whispers, but beginning to knock on Death's Door, especially that one in the far right-hand side of the map where 7 is skating on by right now. That could be a prime target if they were looking for something to really group up around, but you mentioned the urn, Hot Sauce. It looks like they might have heard you. Patron Pulverizers take that urn all the way to their side of the map, and doesn't look like they want to yet try to fight over on the Tracklock side, but they definitely have it in their possession and make sure that is an option if they want it.
Yeah, and at a bare minimum, at least it stays out of the hands for Tracklock for the time being, I suppose. That's what that is the goal there for them at the moment. But you know, if you're Tracklock, you got to think about maybe looking for a team fight over there. But the problem is the soul gap has just begun to extend even more. And you know, we see I'm Sick, who dominated in the previous one, doesn't have any kills this time, doesn't have any deaths either. But I think, you know, that change certainly has benefited Tracklock a little bit. Unfortunately, they're just not able to capitalize on it as much as they would like.
It's been a challenging one, but again, still within striking distance here. About 9k souls, call it 8k depending on the wave-to-wave state, but they are definitely still in this one. They're not blown out like they were in the previous one, at least in the early stages. They've gotten their way back into this one pretty comfortable, but it is not a comfortable spot here for Frippy on the 7. He will be surrounded and pounded by 3 members of the Patron Pulverizers, but that opens up an opportunity on the other side of the map for Ofe to grab this urn, and they can see him on the map, Hot Sauce. They are very well aware that he is running this urn right now.
Yeah, he's looking to take there. And I mean, luckily they have it on their side as well, so there is a little bit of a benefit there, but it does look like Yama is over there and lurking in the shadows. Lady Geist not able to get back here as well. Will fall. 7's currently down at the moment, so Patron Pulverizers having that 2-player advantage. We'll see the respawn coming in for 7, and now Infernus thinking about dropping the urn and having to fight. Will get knocked out of the hands here as well, and Yama just not ready to give this urn up for free.
Urn is inches away from the drop-off site, but the fight is preventing anybody from trying to deliver that one just yet. Gooball rolls in, trying to break things up and getting a good stun off onto the Vindicta, but has to disengage here, as now it is King Basilius on this Bebop that says, thank you very much, I will be taking that, and the urn just delivered to the Patron Pulverizers by Infernus and the rest of the boys on Tracklock, and now this lead goes from bad to worse.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? You need the urn, but if you don't get it, now it's almost game because of losing that urn. That soul deficit getting close to that 120 mark there to 84. I mean, just insane leads. And honestly, now that gives the Patron Pulverizers the ability to team up, to look to take mid boss, to force a team fight early. And at this point, what do you do if you're Tracklock Whisperers?
You have to use what tools you have available, and those are the 7 ult and the Lash ult are your two biggest fight tools on the map right now. Don't forget that at any point in time, if Patron Pulverizers try to go for one of these mid-bosses, I kill you, it doesn't matter how many souls he has, as long as he has access to that ultimate, he can still get in there and become a nuisance, prevent that one from going cleanly in the way of the Patron Pulverizers. Same thing with Ophe on this Infernus, right? If you can get either one of those stuns off in that pit, it makes it so much more challenging to try to convert on that play and actually catapult this lead to a winning game state. But I mean, up until that point, if we're not talking mid-boss fights, we're talking very difficult interactions here for Tracklock. You can see just what happens to them if they try to walk into their own jungle. Patron Pulverizers are there and they are ready to pulverize.
Yeah, they just have phenomenal team communication. They really orchestrate these plays well together, finding stuns and allowing the team to capitalize. Single target acquisition here as we see 2 fall for Tracklock Whisperers. And now the Patron Pulverizers smell blood in the water. They continue to push forward. And who doesn't love a magic carpet out here?
It is my favorite item in the game to watch happen as Bebop Aladdin's his way into this team fight. They've got 2 picks right now, Hot Sauce, and it looks like they're beginning to fall back in the direction of that mid-boss. This might be their best opportunity to do so while they only have the Infernus ult to deal with, no Lash available for the time being to prove a disruptor. If the Tracklock squad wants to try to get in here, they've got to get in fast and they got to get in now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be really tough with that soul deficit. Even if they are able to come in and potentially find this steal, I feel like the Patron Pulverizers will just instantly delete them. Obviously, they'll have the benefit of that rejuve, but that's not going to be the case here. Now Infernus dangerously low. Yamato on the hunt will secure it with the help of Scout here as well. And the Patron Pulverizers continue to assert their dominance.
Viscous gets caught out here. Scout has him frozen. He's in the cube and swapped through the wall. Does not matter how much time you're going to buy. You're still going to fall all the same. I kill you as well. Could be falling to a similar fate here. Good evasion there using that fan and that zipline, but Yamato's on his tail. Will not allow him to get away just for free. And it is 4 down for Tracklock Whispers as Patron Pulverizers with the rejuve in hand start to knock on the door of this base.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at like a 40k soul lead here. That's just so hard to deal with. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's one of those things that's just highly improbable, and that's what we're seeing here. The Patron Pulverizers not losing a single member. 3 fall for Tracklock. They still have the rejuve to work with. They're eating the shrines alive, and the Patrons next.
And it's Tracklock now to play defense from behind. Bebop ult keeping them pinned down in the fountain, making sure that they can't walk their way on out of there, and Kelvin will go up there, grab him, pull him on out. He should be safe, but can't say the same for this Patron. Can't say the same for Shoddy on the Ivy, who takes a spill there following a Paradox ult. And these base Guardians have gone down, the Shrines have gone down, Patron is transformed, and they're going for the end right here.
Yeah, they're just looking to close it out, and why shouldn't they? I mean, they have completely dominated. They put on an absolute clinic thus far. Internet Boyfriend in some dangerous trouble, though, will fall. Yama goes down as well, and Tracklock Whispers with a little bit of success of their own, but at what, I mean, how much time is it going to last? Because I'm Sick is in the air. The attack chopper is raining down a hailstorm of bullets, finds the snipe, and continues to look for more.
Lash ult up in just a couple more seconds. If they can buy time, they could throw them back into the fountain. They just need to keep the they need to keep Patron Pulverizers away from this fountain a little bit longer. They are actually chasing the members of the blue squad out. Scout very low, hits a nice swap though, and that'll be one more in the coffins. Shoddy on this Ivy takes another spill, does manage to answer back onto Scout, and it looks like the damage is done here, but hang on a second, Hot Sauce. They're healing up with the Kelvin ult. Looks like they might want to try to go back in.
Yeah, why not? There's already 3 members down. Viscous is half health as well, but they're going to go back and fall back again. This is something that we noticed with TF2 Boomers, right? They're constantly paying attention to the clock, to these respawn timers, always hitting these power-ups, and just giving themselves every extra advantage they possibly can.
It does buy a bit of breathing room here for the Tracklock Whispers, and they need it quite desperately. They are choking on air right now, not a whole lot by way of oxygen, and they're going to have to find a whole lot more if they want to make their way back into this 36k soul deficit that they've found themselves in. They have excellent base defense tools, Hot Sauce. Between this Lash ult, this 7 ult, even the Infernus ult can be a difficult thing to siege into if used correctly, but they're going to have to execute on all of those things in turn if they're going to try to fight their way back in here. And it might start with the pick onto King Basilius. They got a good knockdown on him. He's quite deep here in enemy territory, but it does look like the rest of the cavalry's coming in, and the Tracklock squad is actually quite spread out here. Infernus and 7 are not available for this defense if they push in right now.
Yeah, it looks like they're just trying to get a little bit of extra farm to help him out, but the rest of the crew already pushing in. Statue for him to go down and look to nullify the bomb, but he does it a hair too early. Will still eat some of that damage as they continue to dance around. We can see the Bebop ult again, up high and dry, raining down that pressure, looking to force the opposition back into their spawn, allowing Patron Pulverizers to work in toward the pit, but the 7 ult once more. So good at denying these pushes. We see picks going in both directions, but Patron right now in a 1-4 trade.
And an excellent trade for them, but not quite good enough yet to spell the end of the game. Mary is in between a rock and a hard place in this Kelvin ult. A good parry there will actually buy an incredible amount of time, but not enough. As the last member falls of Tracklock Whispers, it takes 25 minutes, but Patron Pulverizers pull out the game 2 win, and they will take the set in 2-0 fashion.
Only about a minute and a half longer than the previous game. So, you know, at least Tracklock could say that they held out a little longer here in this second game, but it was only a matter of time. A very close initial first battle, but once Patron Pulverizers began to run away with it, they hit their stride and they really just never looked back.
But I will say, for the side of Tracklock, they hung in there for an incredibly long time. I mean, blink and you will miss the shift in the momentum of the game, where we had, 18-20 minutes of just completely locked up, even gameplay, and then you give one good fight away to the Sapphire Flame, and that is all she wrote. I mean, you hand deliver the urn, you give away a couple of kills at the same time, and the game quickly goes from completely even to
To almost every time at that 10 mark, ready for that urn to come down on spawn. So I'm always interested to see what teams are kind of paying attention to those things throughout the map here as well. But we see a little bit of early damage coming in here from that Paradox onto the Kelvin, and nothing too over aggressive just yet.
An interesting start there, though, from the Amber Hand. The Patron Pulverizers sent sent Mirage over to swap lanes with Yamato, and Tracklock catches Yagu coming into the duo lane and managed to kill her before she can even make her way into the Guardian. So an excellent start there from Tracklock Whispers. I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication there for the Patron Pulverizers or if they just got a matchup they didn't like, but they definitely got punished for it.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes too, I mean, you have those moments where you're standing on the rooftop, you're staring down the opposition before you head into battle. I think that's the perfect time to talk about some of those lane swaps. You want to try to find it early on that zip line before you make your way into the lane. So, maybe just a little bit of miscommunication there, but nonetheless, I mean, Viscous able to come away with that first blood, has that early soul lead, so we'll see if he's able to utilize it. On the other side of things, I mean, Kelvin already up toward that 900 mark, Yamo there as well, so doing a good job at least denying and obtaining or securing here early.
And it really is shocking that after falling so early, Yamato has gotten pretty comfortable back in this duo lane pretty quickly, and even pressuring up on the Guardian line. I mean, this is very uncommon to see a player fall in the early game and then end up ahead of their lane opposition within the next couple of minutes. And this isn't even like minutes, we're talking like 30 seconds it took for Yamato to get caught up. So whatever he's farming, I want some of what he's having, man.
Yeah, not only caught up, but he was the first to hit 1.2K. We do see Viscous now take that lead, but yeah, you're right. To die first and then somehow come back and have the soul lead is a secret that I would like to obtain as well. But Mo and Krill, just again, playing smart here. Doesn't have to get past their point of the bridge. Just peppering in damage when you can, looking to get the last hit on those minions and secure those orbs.
And surprisingly enough, I typically consider Mo and Krill to have one of the better weapons for securing and denying. That automatic shotgun can feel so oppressive to try to pop a soul in front of, but Infernus actually off to a 600 soul lead in that far right-hand side lane. Infernus, no slouch in his weapon. I mean, it is pretty solid, but I just wouldn't think that he'd be doing this, diving the Guardian on the Mo and Krill player. I'm sick indeed, as he gets another solo kill over there, and that will expand his lead even further. And as soon as he gets that ult online, you can anticipate that he's going to be showing his face in these middle parts of the map, in the enemy jungle, and taking all of the farm that he can away from Tracklock Whispers.
Yeah, I mean, Infernus, 2.5K souls already, you named it, almost to that ult, and it's just tough because Mo's so big, right? Like, Infernus, easier target to get that ignite popping off, and you can chase down that enemy as well. So, Infernus, another character with great mobility. Kind of makes it a little bit more difficult for Mo and Krill. Does have that disarm though, so it can buy you some time to where Infernus can't use that gun. So I think it's just something that you have to pay attention, maybe work toward getting a little bit earlier of those cooldowns as opposed to maybe something else.
Checking in here with the other solo lane, the Mirage versus the Wraith. Things got a little interesting there with the swap early on, but things seems to have settled down after that point. No large lead developing, but I'm sick now, diving the Guardian on Mo and Krill once more. Uses that ult that he got about twice as fast as Mo and Krill would have gotten his ult, and picks up another solo kill here. This is starting to spiral out of control on the right-hand side.
Yeah, surprisingly, I mean, the Patron Pulverizers only have a 1K lead, but as you mentioned earlier, 1K means a lot more in those first 5 to 7 minutes than it does in those later 20s. So any early lead is going to be beneficial, and it's certainly beginning to rocket up a little bit for Patron here. And again, it was Tracklock Whispers who had that early success, but Patron Pulverizers, it just goes to show you how important securing and denying is.
Absolutely is, and it's going to be so much more difficult for the Mo and Krill player to farm, and he actually ends up behind Infernus here in the lane. That could spell danger, and danger also spelled here for the 7 player. Looks like King Basilius gets the ult online and manages to find one pick. Ivy will back up to safety and won't end up falling as well, but I mean, you've got an Infernus on your walker. What are you supposed to do here, Hot Sauce?
Yeah, I mean, we see on the mini-map, 7 is going to come out and try to provide a little bit of assistance here. That alley is not where you want to be when 7 comes in. Doesn't connect with the stun before the ball hits, but it's going to be Mo and Krill who does fall first, and only 2K souls compared to the 4.6. That is a tough position to be in, and I think maybe they might want to think about leaving 7 or somebody else over here, allowing Mo and Krill to rotate out to a different lane.
Looks like you might be onto something there. They do exactly that, leaving the 7 there because there is chaos in the middle of the map. Viscous getting chased all the way in here. Ivy pops the ult, looking for potential disengage here. Kelvin ult seems to have been used as well throughout that engagement, just to keep the members of PP a little bit more healthy. No kills converted there, but because I'm sick on this Infernus was present for that fight, that is a very dangerous interaction for Tracklock to be taking, and all of the pressure is now going to be on this Infernus to make this lead count.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see him able to even get back to his lane in time, stop those creeps from working on that Guardian, and then 7 doing an equally as smart thing, right? Don't overextend because you don't have a Guardian to work with. You have those free camps in that background, so just falling back, making sure to utilize those camps and make sure that you don't get outsold, because he's not too far from Infernus at this point.
Yeah, he's at least able to contend in the lane, whereas the Moe and Krill just a little bit too far behind to feel comfortable farming there. That's why now paired up with this Ivy, the 2v2 is a much safer place to be than the 1v1. Even if you're behind there, you have a much lower likelihood of being exploited for it, as you can see here. Even able to get a little bit aggressive onto the Bebop, doesn't obviously go for a kill or anything there, but certainly a much different story than he would have been telling if he was still stuck in the solo lane with I'm Sick. And I do want to draw attention to the fact, by the way, that as you pointed out, this 7 Frippy DL is doing a fantastic job of occupying this Infernus' attention without taking up too much trouble in doing so. He's not risking getting poked out, he's not risking dying, he's just making sure Infernus has to stick around and soaking up all the farm he can.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like we got a big fight here in this right mid lane, and now into the mix here. Pocket goes. Moe and Krill just has a skosh of health left, somehow able to get back to safety for the time being, but it does look like they are on the hunt, and they will eventually get their prize. So Moe and Krill will fall. Yamato has to get back to safety, but has no issue doing that in the ult as well. Obviously can't die. So again, happy with the picks they got, able to fall back to a safer position and continue to farm.
Squid, wow, I think Squid just killed himself to that camp. I think that he was dead either way, but he certainly spelled his own end sooner rather than later. Good ult there from the Paradox to bring down the Mirage. And we saw a cute little interaction there as well. The team play on the Patron Pulverizers. Yamato pops the ult, and you know exactly where she's going to be. So Bebop drops a hook in her direction and pulls her back out of there into safety before that ult can expire, making sure that no danger coming her way, even after diving that walker. An excellent bit of team play there, and those are the, you know, the small little things that start to add up and demonstrate just how comfortable this team is.
Yeah, I mean, a Bebop pool is always nice on an enemy, but when they get a crazy one like that onto a teammate to help keep them alive, it really just extends the longevity of those fights and allows them to continue to farm. So again, hats off to Bebop on some great situational awareness there as well. And I mean, honestly, Tracklock has been able to reel it in a bit, though. We saw that lead starting to find that gap. Now we see it back into that 3K range. So while they have this opportunity, they need to continue to capitalize on it. They are finding some nice groupings together, and hopefully they can catch somebody off guard. But this Wraith in that left lane has to be careful because it is pretty stacked for the Patron Pulverizers at the moment.
Yeah, they've got 3 over there. Looks like Kelvin going to be just farming the jungle because everybody else feeling pretty confident in their ability to push